there's been a rise in the number of fatherless families, and with that, if you grow up in a fatherless home, you are far less likely to succeed in life and far more likely to have issues and problems over drug addiction or criminality and various things. We know that, don't we? So how can we turn this argument around and assert the role of a father in a family?
Well, again, a very good point, very good question, and it's a big, pardon me, it's a big issue. Requires a fair bit of elbow grease, and I would argue prayer too. And so let me also say this: in all of what I'm saying, I do believe in a God of grace and a God of great love and great mercy, and it's about us saying, help, Jesus, help. So it's a very quick four-letter word, but it's very important, H-E-L-P, and it's addressed to our Father, and he can help us. But, the issue of fatherhood, I agree with you, Nick, very well spoken, very well said. I would argue, I had an Indigenous elder that who was a father of the faith to me, Uncle Ronnie Williams from Kalgoorlie. He took me into Kalgoorlie jail. And the reality, as you pointed out in your question, is that, 70% of men inside jail, according to the stats, the psychologists, social science stats, are fathers. Now, I actually asked a prison warden, because I've done a lot in prisons, and we run fatherhood courses in prisons right now. A warden of a jail in Western Sydney, I said, that's what the psychologists say. What's your experience? He said, Warwick, try 100%. So you can either believe the psychologist or you can believe the jail warden, but it's somewhere between 70 and 100%. So the reality is that fatherlessness, you're much higher to have, criminality. You're more likely to be in jail. You're more likely to be in drugs. You're more likely to commit suicide. You're more likely to rape a woman. You're more likely to have anger problems. You're more likely to be involved in violent crime. You're more likely to, as you said, not succeed at work. You're more likely to have a failed marriage. You need a father. Men need fathers. And the biggest, this Aboriginal man I was telling you about, he said Australia's greatest need is for fathers in the home, fathers in the family, fathers in the political world who are statesmen or not just politicians, fathers in the business world. It's not just about profit, but it's about people. So, you speak in my language, giving the Vegemite sandwich, Nick. We need fathers. We need to see fatherhood restored. We can't keep demonising men. All men are not bastards. I know our friendly feminist would argue that they are, or all patriarchy is bad, but let's be honest, good patriarchy produces good societies. Bad patriarchy produces bad societies. It's not a case of all patriarchy is bad. It's that there is some that is bad and some that is good. You can't say, all femininity is bad. Some females are bad, Bettina Arndt says no gender has a monopoly on vice, and I agree with her. She's a very wise woman in that regard, and she's a good friend of mine too, I might add. But the bottom line is that's going to take a fair bit of work, and yes, we have to address the issues, and yes, we have to start with ourselves as men and, be worthy of people's respect, be worthy of our family's love and respect, and of course we have to give that love in the first place, and it does come back. There's a beautiful verse in Ephesians that says that a man should love his wife as Christ loved the church. And what did Christ do for the church? He gave his life for the church. And arguably men have got to do the same for their wives and their children. And that is, I believe, a real man who puts his family first, he puts his wife first. And that is inarguable. I would agree. Would you agree with that, Nick? It's inarguable.